everyone. Welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're tackling the legend himself, Bob Marley.
Bob Marley, what a figure.
We've got excerpts from Bob Marley, a biography to help guide us, but, and I think this is important, we're going beyond the surface level. We're going deeper than just the hits, the One Love image.
Yeah, I think everyone knows the hits, but I'm excited to really dig into the context, the forces that shaped him and his music.
Exactly, exactly. So to kick things off, I think it's crucial to understand the world Bob Marley was born into. I mean, you can't separate the artist from the environment, right?
Yeah, absolutely not. And I think it's easy to forget sometimes, He wasn't just born into poverty. He was born into a Jamaica that was wrestling with its past, fresh out of British rule, still dealing with racial tensions, searching for its own identity. It was a really complex time.
And he was born right in the thick of it, 1945.
Yeah, in this tiny village, 9 Mile. And his heritage, mixed race, white British father who wasn't really around, that had to have an impact. A lot of layers there.
It's like almost like the foundation for the themes he'd explore later on, right? That sense of identity, of social division.
Oh, absolutely. And then, fast forward to when he's 12, he moves with his mother to Trenchtown.
Trenchtown, now that's a name that's synonymous with reggae music.
It is. And it's not just any ghetto. Trenchtown was this incredible hub of creativity. Out of this struggle, this hardship, came ska music. It was vibrant, energetic, raw, really captured the pulse of the streets.
Okay, so ska is erupting out of Trenchtown. But how, musically speaking, does ska evolve into reggae? They seem so different.
Well, Jamaican music, it never sits still. It's always evolving. Ska, it was fast, upbeat, influenced by American R&B and jazz. People needed that release, that joy. But as Jamaica itself started to, I guess, mature, you could say, so did the music.
It's getting more complex.
Exactly. And that's where rocksteady comes in. Rocksteady was smoother, more soulful, slower tempos, more emphasis on the bass lines. And the lyrics started to tackle deeper issues, social issues.
Like a mirror reflecting the changes happening in Jamaica.
Exactly. And all of this is happening around Bob Marley. He's soaking it all up. He meets Bunny Wailer, Peter Tosh. They form the Wailing Wailers, eventually shortening it to just the Wailers. They're young, they're hungry, and they want to make their mark.
It's the classic story.
It is, but it's also important to remember they weren't alone. There were these mentors, these guiding figures, like Joe Higgs. He helped them really develop their vocals. And there was Alvin Seco Patterson, the hand drummer, adding this whole other dimension to their sound.
I love those details. It shows how even in those early days they had this sense of sonic layers that would become so crucial to their music later on.
It's true. And we can't forget, this is Jamaica in the 60s. The talent show scene was huge. It was a proving ground. You had to be good to stand out.
It's fascinating to think that this icon, this guy who would later fill stadiums, started out in these small local talent shows.
It is. And they weren't just playing covers. They were writing their own stuff. Music infused with the life of Trenchtown, the struggles, the hopes. And, this is where Bob's early fascination with music, that thing that started with him making instruments out of, like sardine cans and bamboo, starts to blossom. It turns into something powerful.
They're making a name for themselves, riding this wave of musical evolution. But then in 1966, Bob kind of takes a detour. He heads up to Delaware to be with his mother.
Yeah, seems a little random, right?
It does.
But it was huge, really pivotal, because it's in Delaware that Bob encounters Rastafarianism.
Rastafarianism. Okay, so for those who might not be as familiar, could you give us a quick breakdown? What are the core beliefs, the things that really resonated with Bob?
Sure. Rastafarianism it's a whole movement, really multifaceted. But there are these key ideas that really grabbed Bob, like this connection to Africa, seeing it as a spiritual homeland, a physical homeland. There's this rejection of what they call Babylon, which is, oppression, materialism, all that. And this belief in Haile Selassie Vase, the emperor of Ethiopia, as the embodiment of God, or Jah.
And this wasn't just a personal thing for Bob. This really infused his music, right? Give it this whole other dimension.
Absolutely. It's not just about catchy tunes anymore. It's about something bigger, know? This connection to history, a struggle for liberation. And this is also around the time he meets Rita Anderson.
Rita, his wife, a force in her own right.
Oh, absolutely. Their relationship, it was complicated, but they shared this passion for music, this commitment to Rastafarianism. Powerful bond.
And musically, things are about to get really interesting. Early 70s, they link up with Lee Scratch Perry. Now, this guy is a legendary producer known for his, I don't know, almost experimental approach to reggae.
He was a genius. I mean, a true innovator. He took reggae and just like twisted it, incorporating dub techniques, using all this echo reverb.
It's that signature Wailers sound, those echoing vocals, that kind of trippy atmosphere.
Exactly. He took it to another level. And then, they finally get that big break, the international exposure they've been working towards. 1973, they release Catch a Fire.
Their first album on a major label, Island Records.
Right. And this is where Chris Blackwell comes in, the founder of Island. He sees the potential, the global potential of reggae, of the Wailers.
He's got this vision.
He does. He understood that the world was, like, ready for something new, something that spoke to this desire for change, for connection. He saw that in the Wailers, in Bob's charisma, his lyrics, Catch a Fire, it was a game changer, blending that raw energy with these really conscious lyrics.
It introduced reggae to a whole new audience.
It did. But there's a twist. The original Wailers, the trio, they split up right after Catch a Fire. Bunny Wailer and Peter Tosh go their separate ways. Bob continues on as Bob Marley and the Wailers with a new lineup.
It's the age-old story, right? Creative differences, ambitions, the pressures of success.
Happens all the time. But Bob, he channeled all of that. The turmoil, the change, he channeled it into his music.
And this is when we get No Woman, No Cry. I mean, such a classic.
It's a song of comfort, of resilience, a reminder that even when things are tough, there's still hope.
It's like a universal anthem. It's about so much more than just, romantic love.
Absolutely. It connected with people everywhere, people struggling, people searching for something. It cemented Bob's place as this voice for the voiceless, this poet of the people. And then comes this real crossover moment. Eric Clapton covers I Shot the Sheriff.
In 1974, it hits #1 on the charts.
Think about that. A white British rock star covers a reggae song by a Jamaican artist, and it explodes.
Breaks down barriers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It introduced millions of people to reggae. Bob Marley became synonymous with the genre. But more importantly, he became a symbol. This symbol of peace, rebellion, this yearning for justice, this connection to Africa. And with that fame comes, well, danger.
1976, he survived an assassination attempt at his home in Jamaica.
This was a turning point. It wasn't just random violence. It was connected to all the political turmoil happening in Jamaica at the time. It forced him into exile. He went to England. It was this period of reflection, introspection.
And it's during this exile that he records Exodus, arguably his masterpiece.
It's a powerful album. Jamming, Three Little Birds, One Love, so many classics. It's this testament to Bob's ability to, transform personal pain into something universal.
It's about exile, longing for freedom, but also that enduring hope.
Exactly. And even in exile, he never forgot about Jamaica. He was still fighting for peace.
Which leads us to, maybe one of the most powerful moments of his career, the One Love Peace concert, 1978. He returns to Jamaica.
Think about the courage that took to go back to a place where he was targeted, where violence was so prevalent. And he didn't just go back. He brought rival political factions together right there on stage, urging them to unite.
Under the banner of One Love,
Yeah.
It's a powerful image.
It was a moment of, extraordinary symbolism. It showed the power of music to transcend these divides, to bring people together.
Bob Marley, he wasn't just a musician. He was a cultural force, a symbol of hope, a champion for peace.
It's hard to believe how much he did in such a short time.
Yeah.
He was only 36 when he died.
I know.
Makes you wonder what else he could have done, if he had had more time.
It's really hard to even imagine. Bob Marley's death in 1981, it was a huge loss.
For the world, yeah.
But his music...
It didn't stop there.
No, it just kept going, kept spreading.
Yeah.
Reaching these new generations, inspiring all these different artists.
It's wild how his music has been, reinterpreted over the years.
Yeah. Think about that Africa Unite remix, blending his classic sound with modern electronic beats, or that mashup of Get Up, Stand Up with Welcome to Jam Rock. It's his message is still relevant, still powerful.
Oh, absolutely. Those reinterpretations show just how much his music and his message still resonate. People are still fighting for social justice, for equality.
It's unity.
Right, and his words, his rhythms, they're still part of that fight.
And we can't forget, his family played a big role in keeping his legacy alive.
Yeah, especially Rita.
Rita, she was so much more than just his wife.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
She was a talented musician herself with the I3s, right?
Yeah, and the Sulettes even before that.
Right. And then with the Wailers.
And then after Bob passed, she really stepped up.
She did. She became
Yeah.
this guardian of his legacy, managing the estate, making sure his music reached new audiences.
It's amazing. And speaking of family, I mean, we got to talk about his kids, right? Several of them followed in his footsteps, became musicians themselves.
It's true. It's like a dynasty of musical talent. You
Uh,
got Ziggy, right,
yeah.
with the Melody Makers, and then his solo career,
8 Grammys.
8 Grammys. That's incredible. And then there's Steven, amazing producer, musician. He's won multiple Grammys too.
And Julian, known for those conscious lyrics. And Kai Manny, he's got this unique blend of reggae, hip hop, R&B.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, Damien Jr., Gong, Marley.
I mean, he's huge.
Oh yeah. International fame, blending reggae with dance hall, hip hop, electronic music, you name it.
It's incredible. They've not only carried on their father's legacy, but they've expanded on it, pushed the boundary.
They have, while staying true to those core values.
It's beautiful. It's like Bob's spirit lives on through them and through all the countless artists he inspired.
Mhm.
And speaking of his enduring presence, there's the Bob Marley Museum in Kingston, right? His old home.
Yeah, 56 Hope Road.
Transformed into this place of pilgrimage for fans.
It's more than just a museum, though, right?
Yeah.
It's this living testament to his life, his music, his message.
People come from all over the world.
They do. They come to connect with his spirit, to be inspired by his legacy.
But, as much as we celebrate his legacy, we also have to acknowledge the complexities, right?
Yeah.
There have been legal battles over his estate.
Right. And there's been criticism, about how his image has been, well, commercialized.
I guess it comes with the territory, right?
I think so. I mean, any icon like Bob Marley, his legacy is going to be, well, subject to interpretation, debate.
It's like any historical figure. There's the myth, and then there's the reality.
Exactly.
Huh.
And that's what makes exploring his life so fascinating. It's this journey through music, history, culture.
Social movements.
Yeah, it reminds us of the power one person's voice can have,
Yeah.
to inspire millions, to challenge the way things are,
To leave a mark on the world.
a mark that lasts.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Bob Marley.
Yeah. We're left with a question for you all to think about.
Hmm.
What is it about his music that's so powerful? Why does it still resonate with people everywhere from all walks of life?
That's a great question.
Maybe it's the rhythms, the lyrics?
Maybe. Or maybe it's that message, that message of unity, love, resistance.
Maybe it's a combination.
Could be. Or maybe it's just Bob himself, right? His spirit, that resilience, that hope, that unwavering belief in the power of music.
It's a beautiful thing. Whatever it is, we encourage you to keep exploring his music, keep listening, keep feeling that power. Maybe this deep dive has, I don't know, sparked something new for you, or maybe it's reignited an old flame.
Yeah.
Either way, keep seeking, keep learning.
And keep diving deep.
Until next time.